Hi and welcome to this next episode, I think it's Thursday today, of Cannon Fodder, and we are doing pretty well. So we've got some really great path movement going on. We can have a little object now that will sort out all of the quickest routes, which is amazing. But we're now trying to configure this so that we can actually use it for a proper game, not just like a thing that moves up and down, and that's very boring. So let's continue from where we got up to yesterday. And we can see that what we've done is we've worked out what the node number will be when we create the node, or when we create the path. Because one of the problems is you need to say, I want it to move from node 1 to 3, right? Or from node 1 to 2 is our first one. But we don't know where node 1 is. So I'm going to just copy this. Do I need to copy this? No, I don't, because it's already in here. So we've added a node, a path node, which is not what we want. I don't know why I've done that. That was silly. Let's cut that. Let's just delete that. What we want to do is we want to do the connect nodes. Right. So we want to connect the current node. So remember, this is the formula for the current node, okay, which we described yesterday, showing exactly what's going on here. Okay, so that's the current node, and we want to hook it up with the right hand node. So the right hand node is just what the current node is, plus 1, right? Because the right hand one will always be plus 1. So if we look at our object, if we want to hook it up to 2, it's just plus 1, 3 would be plus 1, 5 to 6 would be plus 1. So all of these are just plus 1. Very easy, straightforward, right? I'm going to copy this and paste it. Okay. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. What I want to do, so let's delete that. I want to do the node the other way. So remember what I said, it's only one way. So I'm going to control, paste, copy and paste that, plus 1 here, and then remove the plus 1 here, just so we've got both ways. That's going to be really important to do. Done. Right. Now I'm going to copy it, because what I want to do now is I want to connect it to the one beneath it. So this is where it is currently, and I want to connect it downwards. So notice when we go downwards, we're always plus 3, always plus 3. Okay, so we're going to have, instead of plus 1, it's going to be plus 3. Now, issue with this is this will always connect a node to the right, and it will always connect a node down. Connect the nodes going down. Okay, so we don't want it to connect to the node to the right when the row index is 2. We don't want it to go down when the column index, col 2, is 2. So we can just add that in, and we can say don't connect to the right when it's 2. Actually, I haven't done the second one, have I? So plus 3, sorry, got to do the other way. There we go. So we don't want it to connect to the right, so let's insert another thingy-bob, and we're going to say compare to general values. Going to say as long as the the rows 2. I need to put that in speech marks. Rows 2 is less than 3. Less than 2, sorry. It's lower than 2. Click and drag that. I have the same thing for the cols. 2. Make sure that's lower than 2. So let's have a look what's happened. So if it's lower than 2, so it is for these two, brilliant. If it's 2 or more, don't do it. So we can, I don't know whether this will work, but we can delete these now. If the col index is col 2 is lower than 2, which it is for these two, draw a line down, connect them up going down, which it does. But if it's 2 or more, don't. So let's get rid of these. And that's what we wanted. So if you have a look at what we wanted, have a look at what we've got, perfect connection there. Okay, so those are all our connections there. Now we've said at start of frame, add path node ID 1, add path node ID 9, start movement. Let's have a look and see if it works. No, it doesn't. Now, one of the things is that 1 is not connected to 9. So let's edit that and let's put 2 in. Let's see if that works. I've probably forgotten something. There we are. Works perfectly. So what I want to do really is I want to do a journey to 9. So we're going to say find journey to 9. Because don't forget that is the only thing that's intelligent. The rest of it is literally, I'm at 1, always say it's at 1. Well, always say where it starts. It's not necessarily going to start at 1 because the player might start towards the bottom. It's unlikely to start at 1 actually. But anyway, we're going to start at 1 for our testing. And we're going to say, oh, go to 9. Well, all the object's going to say is, well, there is no path from 1 to 9. That's not an intelligent selection. The only intelligent one is this find journey to, because that's the only one that will look at all the possible journeys and go to 9. Simple, right? Okay, and let's just make sure this is at the top because we don't want to start the movement before we've actually done the route, right? And there we go. It's gone straight to 9. Now, the unfortunate thing about this is that because it's... Oh, that's... All right. Because it's a grid and they're equal, like actually there are, well, is there 6? Well, is there 6? 8. 8 ways to get from 1 to 9 and they're equal distance, right? You could have gone down here, could have gone along here. In fact, there's quite a few different ways to get from 1 to 9. But if I put in 8, there's only 2 ways to get from 1 to 8, right? And so that could be the next thing I do. So 1 to 8. And let's have a look now. Yeah, so it's gone along 1 and then down 3, right? So it has gone along 1 and sorry, down 2, isn't it? 1, 2. So it is smartly going places. But one thing we notice is a bit of a drawback to this is that the object will be going sort of jiggity-jaggedy, right? And that's going to look really weird in our game. Okay, what we do need to introduce is diagonals, right? We need to have diagonals there. Now, this is going to make it really complicated because we're just adding more and more paths. But actually, it's more complicated for it to work out, not for us, right? And so when it connects 1 to 8, there is actually only one way to do it now with these diagonals. With these diagonals, you have to go from 1 to 5. Actually, that's 2. You have to go from 1 to 5 to 8, or 1 to 4 to 8 would be the same, wouldn't it? Because it's 1 straight down and 1 diagonal. There we are, it's 2. But the movement of it will look a lot more fluid and it will look a lot nicer. Now, what you could do if you want the movement to look even better is connect node 1 to 8. What you could do is connect all nodes to each other. But I have no idea like how powerful this object is or whether that many connections will just be an absolute nightmare for it. And also, if 5 is an object that we don't want it to walk through, so we like say, oh, well, we're not going to have any connections to 5. If I do 1 to 8, or sorry, 1 to 9, that will go straight through 5, which we don't want. So the whole point of us creating this grid system is to be able to say don't go to 5. So if we remove 5, suddenly all the connections going to 5 disappear, and so the player or the player object has to move around 5 and find the quickest way to do so. Now, the reason it looks so jaggedy is that I've put 100 pixels between nodes. Now, we need to have that really far down. We need to have loads and loads of nodes for this to look smooth. Because if the difference between node 1 and 2 is only a pixel, you're not going to notice the kind of jaggedy movement of the player object. So, yeah. There's going to be quite a challenge ahead. So we need to find a way to make it so that, yes, we've used 3, an arbitrary number, just so we could see it working. We need a way of picking a number. And so every time I've written 3, I should have stored that in an alterable value somewhere. So that's something we need to do. And we also need to add the diagonals onto this, because I think that it would be nicer if we can move diagonally between 2 points as well. I'm not going to go any further than that because it wouldn't make sense to, because if you start connecting 2 distant points, we saw that if you remove the middle one, if you remove a node in the middle, then if you've connected those 2 distant points, it will still be able to go through a tree, which is not ideal. Whoa, I think that makes sense. So in tomorrow's video, I'm going to add the diagonals, and hopefully in the next video, we can then have it so that we can have them a lot closer together and a lot more nodes. And then we can hopefully also start having the click, because what I want to do probably is have it so wherever you click, it works out where the nearest node is. So it doesn't necessarily go straight to where your mouse is, but it goes close enough, because remember, the closer the nodes, the closer it is to the actual point where you click. Loads left to do, lots of fun. It looks like it's working, which is good. So I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's video. And if you like this video, click like. If you want to see more from us, click subscribe. Thank you very much.